When we learned of a Breath of the Wild sequel way back in June of 2019, it was through a cryptic and almost silent trailer involving no commentary either from creators or in-game characters. Nothing other than the end where the screen read, "The sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is now in development." And in the 3 years since, here's what we've gotten. Another trailer that, though it had more music and a small amount of new gameplay, still no commentary at all. Then we received a couple new tiny clips, but again, no game commentary. Just learning that the developers needed more time. And then last week, we finally learned the name and the release date. Yet still, no in-game commentary nor specifics from the creators. What gives? Shouldn't we have at least gotten some sort of interview with Miyamoto or Aonuma by now? Something where they delve further into specifics such as new gameplay mechanics? I know we are still several months out, but I am wondering, maybe Nintendo isn't going to give us anything else. Hey y'all, I'm the Geek Apprentice and welcome to this Tears of the Kingdom discussion video. So one of my viewers commented on my analysis video that it's kind of strange that Nintendo was so open and forward with Breath of the Wild, giving us insight into gameplay and story, all the while of course not spoiling anything. But when it comes to new details about Tears of the Kingdom, it's all under lock and key, or so it feels. That got me thinking, and yes, it could be something concerning such as they are very behind in the development of the game, but nothing we have received so far comes across as worrisome. The little hints and cutscenes we've seen look fleshed out, just out of order and purposely meant to keep us guessing. And you know what? That's a good tactic of promotion. I posit we are not, and maybe should not, get any more details about the game leading up to its release. Just one more big theatrical trailer in the early spring, much like the incredible one we have for Breath of the Wild from 2017. Bold statement? A tad ridiculous? Maybe, but here's why I came to this conclusion. As aforementioned, when we were waiting for Breath of the Wild starting back in 2014, this particular Zelda was quite a new thing. Yes, it was mostly inspired by the openness of the very first game from the 80s, but there's been something called the Zelda formula that's been around since the third Zelda game, A Link to the Past, and solidified with the first 3D Zelda game, Ocarina of Time. Breath of the Wild did not have that formula in the sense of dungeons or a fair amount of linearity. So because it was an open world, no themed dungeons, and oodles of other little things, Nintendo had to sell us on it. That's key. Nintendo had to sell us on this different kind of Zelda game. So of course, the trailers had to be epic. And they had to show and talk to us about those new mechanics to assure longtime fans that this change was okay. More than okay, that it was going to be great. And it was, abundantly so. In fact, it was so successful that rather than taking their unused ideas to a totally new game, they felt safe in continuing the same adventure, the same Link and Zelda, same Hyrule. And more than that, a truer sequel than even Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask, yes, was the same engine, but it still went to a new world. I'm not shooting down that game, by the way, it's wonderful. But this sequel is more of a true continuation, I would say. With Zelda creators being usually so bent on going to the next new thing, this is quite surprising. But again, it was made possible because Breath of the Wild was so successful. Now yes, I do understand that it's very likely that a lot, if not most, of the unused content couldn't be given to a new game and was only fitting for this particular story. Just want to point that out. But what does all of that have to do with not having much information about the details of the sequel game? Nintendo, I imagine, is heavily confident in the inevitable success of Tears of the Kingdom. Unlike with Breath of the Wild, they don't need to work so hard to sell us on this game, as anyone who played the first it's pretty much a shoo-in they're going to play the second. Simply giving us more story, especially considering how much Breath of the Wild story was criticized, is enough to get fans old and new going nuts with excitement and anticipation. So this leads me to the idea that maybe we don't need any specific information. All that's left to do is to drop an epic final theatrical trailer, watch the bomb explode, and sit back as the game sells out. That doesn't mean they can't tell us more, and perhaps they will. Perhaps I'm making this video too soon. But truth be told, the more I ponder it, the more I'm thinking that I don't want more details. Give me that final trailer and allow me to just drop into the game and see what happens. Call me foolish, but I trust them. I blindly love almost anything Zelda, but I also know it can't just be me who'd be totally content with this route, right? But you know what? Maybe I'm reading far too much into this. Maybe I'm grasping at straws in a sense, and this process actually hasn't been that much different. Maybe I should consider what I said earlier, that there is still 8 months left, which is plenty of time for Nintendo to suddenly drop a detailed interview. I think I just really like the concept of knowing nothing except creepy music and wild, out of order, enigmatic clips of cutscenes. Cause I'm gonna buy and play the heck out of this game regardless of whether I know the gameplay specifics or what's new about it. And it's not like we haven't seen anything new. We have in fact seen some new mechanics. We just have to guess as to their specifics. But what do y'all think? Has it been as cryptic as I'm making it sound? Do you want more specifics about the game's core mechanics, or do you, like me, kind of feel fond of the idea of not knowing anything? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, consider liking the video and maybe joining the Geekdom by subscribing. And join a live stream if you can. They're on Thursdays and Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They can be Animal Crossing, Kirby, even Ring Fit Adventure. Massive shout out of gratitude to all those who support me either via channel membership or on Patreon, especially those in the highly end tier on Patreon: Joking Batman, Lorulian Sheep, Geek Mom, and McToppler. Thanks for helping me continue to do these fun things here on YouTube. But anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for watching.